Hey, what's happening, y'all? Welcome back to the Media Goose channel. It is I, the Media Goose, RJG, Ryan James Gorman, and the goose is loose, baby. I'm coming at you today to talk about episode 6 of season 2 of Daredevil. I am a week behind because I was covering the draft in WrestleMania. So I am covering episode 6 now, and I'm recording my reaction to episode 7 right after I'm done with this. This episode was incredible. This really felt like either a penultimate or season finale kind of an episode with the stakes and the overall tension of the episode. It was intense the entire way through. It starts with Fisk at Vanessa's side, and that doctor who had been tender with him comes in and tries to connect with him again. Don't try to connect with monsters. Like this felt like this guy walking into a lion's den. And Fisk, the guy touches the doctor, so maybe he wouldn't have killed him, but the second he touches Fisk, it was over for him. And he kills him. Then we go to Vanessa's service, and it's really emotional. You see all the characters in Fisk's orbit there, and you see Fisk really emotional, really emoting at the casket, and as he turns, he masks that again, so that he doesn't appear emotional and vulnerable, but you do see him take a moment to really feel that happening. And then we see as well, intercut with the service, that Fisk took all of the weapons that Mr. Charles was running and gave them to his task force. And that's a big deal. That means a lot for what happens in the next couple of episodes. And one of the coolest things is they continue to use that watch from the first episode of this season when Matt left that watch with the weapons from Red Hook. So he's used it like 3 times now. Great writing. I'm so impressed with the writing of this season. And after Kingpin leaves the church, we go to Jessica Jones' house. And we see her take out a wet team of agents sent by Charles. And her daughter, Danielle, who in another timeline becomes the next Captain America. We also have Elijah Bradley, so we now have 2 future Captain Americas in the MCU. But just seeing Jessica Jones back, awesome. And the fact that she's a mom now, so cool. Kristen Ritter, oh my God, got me praying in church like Matt Murdock. Then it's them helping Bullseye, and it's them talking about all the chaos Bullseye caused. And once Soledad leaves, it's just Karen and Matt takes his mask off, and they start talking, and the conversations Karen and Matt have been having do not lead me to believe they will stay together. I really feel like Matt is really off-put by the way Karen's talking about life and death and saying that Matt will need to kill Fisk, knowing Matt won't do that. That's not on Matt. You can make the argument like Batman should kill the Joker because he keeps killing. Why is that on Batman? Just like in this case, why is it on Matt to have to be the one to kill Fisk? And it was really good as Karen's leaving, or as Matt's leaving, Karen says, hey, and they just look at each other. They don't say anything. And Matt just looks at her and walks out. A lot was said with no dialogue. I don't know that they stay together. It doesn't feel like they would with the way their conversations have been going. That unspoken moment was so powerful. Then we get Daniel and BB, she is asking him about his birthday. Daniel's being really like standoffish, clearly doesn't trust her anymore. Then Buck walks up and starts putting a little pressure on BB and pulls Daniel away, and Daniel and Buck have their talk. And Buck is like, dude, BB's the fucking leak, and you need to get your shit together. And tells him that he needs to give her some false information and see if it leaks out. Then there have been so many shots in the last few episodes where it went right from Daniel directly to Fisk. And that really surprises me for what happens at the end of episode 7. But then we get Mr. Charles calling Fisk about giving away his weapons, and Fisk mean mugs him, gives him nothing, doesn't say a word. He has no respect for Mr. Charles, and Mr. Charles is connected to Valentina, so I wonder if Valentina shows up in the final episode. Then we get protesting at Vanessa's vigil. This is the beginning of the resist and rebel movement. All of this is leading to the city versus Fisk. Then we get Jessica and Daredevil on the roof, and it's awesome. She talks about how Charles was reaching out to superpowered people and that she said no, but not everybody she knows did. And Matt's like, oh, kind of like Sweeney Todd and a little priest. And it was just so cool seeing them together again. And then they go in and attack the AVTF, who has all of those arms now. Jessica bursts through a wall like the Kool-Aid Man, and Matt just opens a door. It's hilarious. And this whole fight with the AVTF is awesome. You can see Jess's powers are still working until she comes up against Powell. And she punches Powell, and he eats it. And I'm wondering if Powell has been enhanced. If Valentina is involved, that makes me think maybe the power broker could be involved. And maybe she had some serum or something to enhance Powell. I don't know, but he ate that punch from Jessica, who had just Kool-Aid Manned through a wall. So I don't know the line they're walking with. If that moment was to show Jess is underpowered or Powell is powered up. Then all of the guns end up blown up. All of the weapons from the deal end up blown up. And then Heather is in Vanessa's space. She steals a ring from Vanessa. And as the camera starts to tilt and we hear Muse whispering, Buck walks in. They have one of my favorite interactions in all of the Daredevil canon. This scene is so fucking gripping, where Heather feeling the pull towards Muse and Buck asking her, what did he do to you? Show me. It was so gripping to watch. And there was tension, but it didn't like it was sexual, but at the same time it wasn't. And it was beautiful when she's choking him, and the director, or no, in the so that scene between Buck and Heather was supposed to end with a kiss, and the actress that plays Heather, I think her name is Marguerite or Margarita, she said they shouldn't kiss, that it took away the tension of the scene, and I completely agree. I think that scene ending without them kissing adds so much more than if they had kissed. It was a riveting scene to watch. Then Daniel and BB again, the setup. He tells her that Fisk isn't running for re-election to see if it leaks out again. Then we cut to Powell. He knows that the kid who gave Daredevil the pass a few weeks ago was the traitor. And he gives him back his card that's like the smoking gun and gives it back to the kid. The kid should have just ran, should have just tried to get away. Um, and then it's Bullseye and Karen, and this is another really intense scene that I think is a scene that makes me believe Matt and Karen can't continue together. He says, "Are you going to kill me?" Karen says, "Probably." So she intended to kill Dex here. And Dex says it was Foggy's life for his. It was a formula. And she grabs Dex's head and puts the gun right up to it. And as she's about to pull the trigger, Dex says, "Thank you." And as she pulls the trigger, Matt stops it. She pulled the trigger. She pulled the trigger. It says a lot about Karen. When Daredevil showed up with Bullseye, if y'all remember, I said this might be something that drives a wedge between them because of how intensely Karen feels about it. Karen pulled the trigger to kill Bullseye, and Matt forgave him within the same episode of each other. So that was a really... Every scene in this show at this point just has so much tension, and their ability to pair up characters together is so breathtaking. And Matt says, "What happened to you?" And she says she grew up. There's been set photos from next season leaking that make me think Karen will make it out of this season, but I almost feel like she shouldn't. She pulled the trigger on Bullseye's forehead. I think it would be really cool if Karen does die in the finale and you find out she was there a couple days on set for it to leak that she was there, so people will be shocked by her death. Then we get to Daniel and BB at the mom's house, and we see her type the message to leak that Fisk isn't running. And then once she goes into Daniel's room and sees pictures of his father, I was upset it wasn't James Gandolfini in those pictures. They show you her delete the message. She deleted it. She didn't leak it. So what happens in episode 7? That's a result of this. If she had leaked it, somebody else would have died in episode 7. And then we're back to the protesting. Oh, and I wrote, when they sung Happy Birthday to Daniel, that shit was so menacing. Michael Gandolfini. I'm going to talk more about it in episode 7's review, but Michael Gandolfini, this kid's on a generational run. I say kid, he's probably a grown-ass adult. This dude's on a generational run. His father would be proud. The character of Daniel Blake did not go the way I thought it was going to. It's a beautiful character. And at the protest, a lot of the protesters are wearing Daredevil masks, which is really fucking cool. Then we see the governor and Charles, and they're kind of on the same side about Fisk's time being up. And then it's the confrontation between Daniel and BB. She almost kisses him. And I've said before how I felt like she was manipulating Daniel, and I do kind of feel that. But then I also wonder if she was actually opening herself up to the idea of being with him. I don't know. I'm the best friend. I'm the fat guy like Gandolfini's character, so I would see it from the eye of like she's the pretty girl batting her eyes at him. But I do think there is a real connection there. She does see him as a friend, and after seeing him with his mom, I think she did have tender feelings for him. And the confrontation is heartbreaking because he says, "I don't know if I can protect you from him, from Buck." And that scene was just heartbreaking. Then You get everything going on with the testimonials against Fisk being aired at the protest of the people who were in the Red Hook prison. As those things are being projected, Fisk is descending down a stairwell. I love how often they show shots of people descending literally and morally descending into darkness. And Fisk returns to his rabbit in his snowstorm, the painting, and Matt arrives, and you see the Daredevil mask on Fisk's head, the Devil's Reign image recreated, and this scene between them it's everything. It's like series finale kind of stuff between them. And Matt says, what's it going to take? Because I don't know how to stop doing this, and you don't know how to stop doing this, but we can't keep ending up here. And Fisk levels with him. He's like, I don't think you're wrong. And it felt like Matt negotiating peace with Kingpin. And Fisk says, you have nothing to give or take from me. And they fight. And I have to wonder if this is the last time we'll ever see them fight. I guess they fight one more time in the finale, but this felt like a final confrontation between them. I kind of expect Fisk to have his final confrontation with somebody else. This season ends with him in prison. I think they've all but assured that. The governor also asked Sheila about running for office and told her you won't have to run a campaign. So like they spoiled in the Spider-Man trailer, they're going to impeach Fisk and Sheila's taking over as mayor. So I just wonder if we're going back to one more Daredevil Kingpin showdown, or if maybe it's him versus Bullseye with Bullseye trying to kill him. Or that phone call from Karen Page was to Frank Castle, because it wasn't to Matt. That's from episode 7. I'll save that for the next episode. But then Powell reveals to the kid that he knew it was him and shoots him in the fucking head. And Cole, the scarred AVTF agent, says, like, dude, what the fuck? I think that guy's flipped. He's totally undercover for somebody, maybe Curson. Because the first time we saw him this season, before he spoke to Powell, we saw him, like, messing with a wire or something. He's turned. The scarred black man. I think his name was Cole. He's turned. And I wonder if they'll have him turn in the final episode of this season or not. But after that, Karen tries to save Javi, the kid that was friends with Hector Ayala's niece, Angela, I think. And Powell finds Karen and captures her. This felt like a penultimate episode of a season. Like, episode 7 would be the finale, but it wasn't. Episode 7 continued ramping up. The reviews before I watched this season said that they continue escalating every episode after episode 4, and I have to agree with that. Episode 4 might still be my personal favorite, but in the way that these stakes have continued escalating, it's been breathtaking. I'm going to wrap it up here, and I'm going to immediately record my reaction to the next episode, episode 7. So thank you guys for watching. I am so thoroughly enjoying Daredevil. Jump right back in with me, and let's talk about episode 7 in the next video. Thank you guys. The Goose is out.